everyone, and welcome to Police Off the Cuff Real Crime Stories. I'm your host, retired NYPD Sergeant Bill Cannon, 27-year veteran of the NYPD. You know, folks, we did part one of this story you see on the screen right now. Debra and Chris Sterns discuss Stephan's dysfunction, his relationship with Jennifer. But what we wanted to do tonight was part two of this and talk about more of Stephan Sterns' sort of dysfunction and the part that his parents played in this. And how we spoke about the last time, how he lied about the times and the locations, and about the outstanding investigation that the Kissimmee investigators did, as well as the Orange County Sheriff's Office. Just outstanding investigation. And you realize when we go over all of Stephan Sterns' his testimony and his interviews about how many times he was lying, he was not telling the truth, and how good and how prepared, and how they didn't totally react to what he was saying when they knew he was lying. They just kept letting him lie. And that's what a good investigator does. A good investigator just lets the liar keep lying, you know? And when we realize his parents, Chris and Debra Sterns, you see a picture of them up on the screen. You know, they knew all about the relationship that he had with Jennifer Soto. They knew all about the relationship, apparently, that he had with Madeline Soto. And when I hear them speak, you know, they seem like regular, ordinary mom and pop and good people. But somewhere buried in their parenting was they were enablers. They enabled Stephan Sterns to be or become the monster that he absolutely did become. And I don't think that you can totally blame them, but he certainly became a monster, and they certainly knew about it, you know. Dysfunctional evil. You see the thumbnail up on the screen. Debra and Chris Sterns discuss Dysfunctional Son, part number 2. Was it that Stephan Sterns was dysfunctional in the way that he was mentally ill, or was he criminal, or both? You know, some people got a little upset that I spoke about mental illness. And, you know, one of the things, and I don't mean to put down anyone that has mental illness, but many times mental illness and criminality go hand in hand. And I don't say all the time, I say many times. Most criminals that we arrest have a mental illness, believe it or not, right? And having said that, I just wanted to put this up on the screen because someone asked me if I could put something up about suicide and mental health. And that's the site is the National Institute of Mental Health, www.nationalinstituteofhealth.gov/health/topics/suicide prevention. All right, because we as police officers, as members of the service, we probably saw more suicides than any profession on this earth. And that goes for brother officers too. Cops kill each other at a higher rate than almost any profession on this earth. So I am very cognizant of that. I'm very sympathetic of that. And I don't mean to make light, but for us to tell this story, we have to talk about mental illness, because both of these protagonists here, both of these, one who is the main perp, Stephan Sterns, and we're going to touch upon tonight, Jennifer Soto. Both of them were mentally ill, yet both of them have some criminal responsibility here. And that's what I wanted to point out. And I can't pussyfoot around that. I have to tell it like it is. So we're going to get into that. Was it dysfunction or evil? We're going to listen to Debra and Chris Sterns discuss their son more. But right before that, folks, hang on to your hats, hang on to your opinions, hang on to your loved ones, hang on to your service dog, your service cat, whatever you got, your glass of wine, your cup of coffee. Depending on where you are, you may have to stay awake. And folks, you're about to enter true crime from a police perspective. You're about to enter the off-the-cuff zone, the police off-the-cuff zone.
There has to be some common sense.
Yes, sir. They have the car stopped at 10th and Ranch by Glider.
We still don't know who pulled the trigger.
Joining me tonight is fan favorite, crowd favorite, and you can't blame them. He's very knowledgeable. He's very low key. He's almost priestly, and he's a retired NYPD Sergeant, professor of criminal justice at Albertus Magnus College, Connecticut, attorney, all around great guy. Let's welcome to the show, Professor Michael Geary. Welcome, Mike.
Hey, Bill. Good evening. Welcome. Welcome everyone to the show. Thank you for showing up. Thank you.
You know, Mike, that's some intro, man. People got to love you when they hear that intro,
Gotta thank our viewers, because this is why we do it. Yeah.
Mike, I want to get right to, Duty Ron, our friend on Crime Time with Duty Ron. He just did a show before us about Jennifer Soto. And everyone is asking the question, why has Jennifer Soto not be arrested? Many think not only was she complicit, but she was totally involved, that she was part of this. And I see so many areas here. I think she should be charged. I absolutely do. But I understand the strategies that district attorneys and prosecutors use to their advantage. And that could be what's behind Jennifer Soto not being charged. Your thoughts, Mike?
When you look at it, where she is, she's in a precarious position, because you've got the perp on one side, the ultimate perp in the Stephan. You've got her in the middle, and then you got the victim on the other side. You got Maddie on the other side, and she's like, I'd like to say, like right in the middle, the spokes, where all the spokes on the wheel come together. She's the hub, because it was her home, her location. She was in control of the environment for Maddie and that sort of thing. You could easily make out a case for reckless endangerment of Maddie's health, endangering the welfare of a child, things like that. Absolutely, you can do that. I think the reason why the prosecutor is not bringing charges against her, if they did, say they said, okay, we're going to arrest you for a felony like endangering the welfare of a child, but we're going to hold off on any sort of charges involving accessorial conduct to murder. They'll do that. And I think they want to do that because she's going to be called by either DA or by, Stephan's defense attorney in his first trial for the 35,000 images and things on his phone. So she is already being represented by counsel. And therefore, instead of giving her immunity from the district attorney's office in exchange for her testimony, and then maybe convicting her like a plea bargain for something minor later on, I think because she has an attorney and she's going to have to testify in court no matter what, they're going to get her. The district attorney is going to get her to testify without any sort of grant of immunity, any sort of plea bargain deal in the works. And she's just going to have to take her chances on the stand. If something looks like it may incriminate her, she's going to have to take the Fifth Amendment, that sort of thing. It's going to look bad, But I think that's the only reason why they don't go after her right now is they're going to get her on the stand without a plea bargain or immunity in play already. And so therefore she's going to take her chances on the stand. However well she does, that's up to her. But there's not going to be any bargains made, no deals made, backdoor deals made for her at all before his trial, because there's no sympathy for her. I'm sure a lot of people, a lot of detectives on this case would like to see her arrested, but ultimately the decision to arrest and prosecute comes from the the district attorney's office. And I think that's what they want to do. She'll take her chances unprotected by immunity on the stand, and they'll proceed against her, I believe, in the future.
Well said, Mike. Jordan Davies. Hey, Bill and Mike, do you think J.S. Jennifer Soto will be charged at some point? Just looking for your thoughts, even though we don't know either way. Jordan, yeah, Mike was just giving his opinion on that just now. And my feelings are that, yes, I believe she will be charged. And all the news reporters and all the content creators, all the YouTubers, we don't know what type of strategy the district attorney or the prosecutor in this case is going with. Because let's not forget, the first case with all those images on his phone is a life sentence if found guilty. The second case, which is the case that is the real Lollapalooza, as I would say, is a death penalty murder case. Based on the first case, that's the underlying felony that makes the murder a capital case. So that is what the prosecutor wants in his trick bag, so to speak. He wants that, all the marbles on the table for that case, because that's the death penalty case. That's the case that's the most important. So he may be holding on to arresting Jennifer Soto until they figure out what happens after the first trial. He's found guilty. Now, the district attorney's got 4 aces in his hand when he goes and speaks to Jennifer Soto's attorney. Look, here's the deal. She testifies and she gets charged with this also. She gets charged, say, with manslaughter. And I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. I'm saying that's what could happen. And the district attorney or the prosecutor will be holding all the aces at that point. I want to play this from a local news station because everyone was reporting on this.
Police arrested this man, Stephan Sterns, for her murder. Prosecutors are seeking the death penalty. Sterns is the boyfriend of Maddie's mother. We interviewed them both before law enforcement found the teen's body. Channel 9 Shannon Butler joins us live in studio for this breaking update. And Shannon, sources have told you the mother of Madeline Soto has not broken the law.
That's right. And the interview with Soto takes place on.
See, that's ridiculous that the news even said that. She has not broken. You know, she has broken the law. So why do they report that like all or nothing? No, she has broken the law. And so you should be reporting that because people take it, oh, she hasn't broken the law. That is absolutely false, Mike.
Oh, it is absolutely false. And the thing is, if they make a comment like, we have no plans to bring charges against her, the rest of the sentence is, we have no plans to bring charges against her right now, or we'll bring charges later. The district attorney every district attorney wants to keep their cards close to their vest. They'll put out only enough information that they're comfortable releasing to the public. And remember, Jen Soto's attorney is going to be all over that when he hears anything at all about his client and the possibility of arrest. And when they say, we have no plans to arrest her right now, yeah, that may change at any moment. And so if I'm her attorney, I'm not resting easy with those assurances that I see on television from a local news station. Not at all. She's in the hot seat. She knows it.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't like when they do one of those all or nothing things because it's not true. Let's go back to their report.
February 27th, about 11:30 p.m., just after her daughter was reported missing. She has a hard time answering some of those questions, but sources tell me nothing so far she has done has been criminal. So at least for now, no charges will be filed. Jennifer Soto appears calm as she tells the Orange County detective the events surrounding her daughter's disappearance. She said at 11 p.m. that Sunday, just after her daughter's 13th birthday, she sent Madeline Soto and Stephan Sterns to bed together.
Is it normal for both of them to sleep in the same room? Sometimes when I really need a good night's sleep, I will send them upstairs. But when also a lot of times we will sleep together in the king size bed, all three of us, or sometimes Stephan will go upstairs and in our bed alone. So it just really depends on what's going on that night with our schedules and what we're doing.
She said they have two roommates and another child that sleeps there sometimes, and that Maddie's bedroom is downstairs in the living room. She told investigators she thought that her daughter was getting ready for school the next morning, but she never actually saw her. She said she got up and went to a doctor's appointment and then got back to the house about 11 a.m.
When you got back, was Stephan here? I'm pretty sure he was, yeah. What was he doing? Just sitting in my room at my computer desk on his phone. Okay. What did you guys do? We chatted for a little bit. I asked him what had happened because he had called me earlier at 10. Pretty sure he called me around 10:18.
But according to investigators, that wasn't true because Sterns had already been seen driving out of the complex on video.
You know, Mike, that's what this is great because it just shows she's lied so many times. Why do people lie, Mike? Why?
Yeah. To me, it's consciousness of guilt. They're covering up.
Well, Mike, I was trying to get you to say that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I took the hook, line, and sinker. But did you hear when the female detective, Detective Tagler, when they asked her, is it normal that, she sleeps in bed she sleeps with Stephan? And she goes, yeah, when I need a good night's sleep. And then immediately, without skipping beat, she corrects herself and says, well, normally we sleep all in the same bed. She's ad-libbing. She's freewheeling. She's trying to cover up because she knows the answer she gave to Tagler, who's a special victims detective, reeks of serious issues, and she's trying to cover it up. Yeah, she's all over the place with times and dates. Sometimes she knows great details. Other times she couldn't tell you whether it was night or day, 10 o'clock in the morning or 10 p.m. So to me, that sort of, repeated lying over things, over these details, is consciousness of guilt.
Well, Mike, people lie because they're trying to cover something up or trying to cover up their own involvement in something.
That's
and
right.
When I hear all of this, I cannot help but think of what are the detectives from Kissimmee Police Department, what are the detectives from Orange County Sheriff's Department, how are they cringing when they hear she broke no laws? They are cringing when they hear that because they know intimately all the things that she could be charged with. But they understand, I think, these are the rules we play with in the criminal justice field. And sometimes to get the bigger fish, you have to string along the smaller fish and then use the smaller fish to get the bigger fish. If that makes any sense. I don't want to bring in the fishing metaphor, but it works in this case.
With the little girl slumped over in the front seat. Jen said it wasn't until after Madeline Soto did not come out of the school and was told she wasn't actually there all day that she started to worry.
That's when I knew something was truly wrong. And I'm not before that email or after that email, but I started panicking and freaking out because she should have been to school. She should have made it.
Jen's answers were hard to come by sometimes, and she told investigators she had taken medicine and was a little spacey, but nothing in this interview or any of the other evidence we received has given detectives a reason to charge her. So something else Jen Soto told the investigators, she said that Stephan Sterns did not go with her to pick up Madeline Soto at school because he said he had a flat tire. Now that's true. Well, at least the flat tire part, he changed that tire near the same location where Madeline's body was found. Now, Greg, something important here, that it doesn't mean she'll never be charged. If investigators find something else that would warrant charges, they would do that. But at least right now, this is where we stand.
So many parts of that interview, Shannon, so disturbing, including the little girl sleeping with her boyfriend and her on occasion. at 13. We'll see what happens, if anything. And that entire interview with Jennifer Soto is more than 33 minutes long, so we have obviously couldn't show it to you here, but we are going through all of the details and what would.
All right, we'll get away. We don't need this guy to promote his station now. Yeah, so again, there's Birdie from the chat. They don't need Jen's testimony when there is so much proof Stephan did it. But Birdie, you can't stop the investigation. I'm really believing that Jennifer Soto was now, and I didn't believe this in the beginning, but as more and more evidence comes out, I'm thinking that she may have known all about the murder before, they reported her missing. There's a lot of unexplained times. There's a lot of unexplained noises in that house. The big thing that no one seems to know is, how did Stephan Sterns get Madeline's body out of the condo and into his car and into the front passenger seat? No one seems to know that, because he had to do it without being seen, right?
Right.
How did that happen, Mike? You have an answer to that?
Bill, that's why we think it happened much earlier than anybody previously thought. Maybe 7:30 in the morning. No, it's light out. It's a school day. No, you don't want too many kids walk around, their parents walking in the school. Too many people up and going. Maybe 2:00 in the morning, 2:30 in the morning. That's a better time. Everybody's asleep. It's pitch black. And maybe the security cameras that are around, like, he wasn't aware of where all the security cameras were, because they have him on video putting Madeline's backpack with her laptop and ID, in the trash. So in the dumpster. He didn't know where they were. But at night, he may have been lucky enough where however the positioning of the cameras were, and being dark, there's no actual video of him actually opening up. And I'm guessing there's probably two doors. Maybe he went out the back door, maybe where her car was parked, the car was parked. Maybe he went around the side and didn't have to go out the front door. So yeah, I think, and that's what makes a lot of people think that she was dead much, much earlier than anybody previously thought. But unfortunately, if they had the video, they would have gotten it by now. But that's just one of those things. We are lucky we got the video of him in that Holiday Inn parking lot, where he parked, and you could see him transferring her body from the front of the car, the front passenger seat, to the trunk. Thank goodness for that. But, it would be nice to have the other one, but at least we have that.
Absolutely. From the chat, Friday Tie Day, Jennifer Soto is heavily medicated. She has a history of anxiety. There's a backstory with her which explains her behavior. Her lack of emotion is because of medication. Stephan Sterns is a predator. It's complicated. It's complicated, but investigators have proved a lot of the things that Jennifer Soto said was and is lies. So you tell lies because you're either trying to cover something up or you're trying to cover up your own involvement. That is what concerns me. And we said from the very beginning that right in the beginning, she could be charged with a crime through omission, which is the failure to act when you have a legal act. You have a legal obligation to act. And she could be charged with a crime through omission. And of course, endangering the welfare of a minor. There's lots of charges. And they do have probable cause right now. And they had it already. But for whatever reason, and the news reporters, except that one reporter on that station, she pulled it back a little bit. And they do have enough to charge her right now. Mary say, JS hugging on that POS makes me want to, Jennifer Soto hugging him in that video. Yeah, that's disgraceful. It's absolutely disgraceful. And especially Mary say from Australia, if she knew about this, if she knew about her daughter being not alive at that point. Mike?
Yeah, we thinking that because one of the theories is that I'm sorry, not Chris Stern, Steph Stern, when he was in his search, he was looking for some sort of narcotic that he could use to make, it was some sort of anesthetic. I can't think of the name of it right now, but a couple of weeks before Maddie passed away, he was looking for that on his computer, doing a search. And some people opine that it's possible that he may have overdosed her, that he actually gave her the medicine perhaps that she was supposed to take, but then gave her a little bit extra medicine so she would be extra knocked out that night. Because he hadn't seen Maddie and Jen for several months since around Christmas. And so according to his parents, he was very agitated the day before he left to go there to Kissimmee. But one of the working theories is that he may have overdosed her, and then perhaps she may have woken up during an attack. But it's that's what some people are thinking right now. We don't know. We don't have the toxicology yet. We'll get to know a lot more answers when we get that. But that seems to be one of the working theories right now in the case.
Kissimmee, Florida, from the chat. Bill, the new thinking is that Madeline was murdered in the actual car. Note how careful Sheriff Minna was when he said, we believe she was killed in Kissimmee. Kissimmee, Florida, you're 100% right. But the thing is, early on in this investigation, the Orange County Sheriff's Department was the lead agency in this case, based on information they had at that point. Once they had determined that Madeline was killed in Kissimmee, the Orange County Sheriff's Office relinquished the title and of being the lead agency, and it was Kissimmee as the lead agency because it's where the murder happened. All right, that's who is responsible for the case. Could she have been killed inside the car? 100%. How hard is it for a 6'4", 220-pound man to strangle a small little girl like her? And I go back to this photo you see on the screen. That's a picture of Stephan Sterns, one of his hands. It appears to be his left hand. Actually, it could be his right hand. So the point being is that looks like scratch marks. So if he attempted to strangle her, since her cause of death was ruled to be strangulation, those could be her fighting back and those marks left by her fingernails on his hand, which would also mean, and I know they did this because I read the report, underneath her fingernails could be Stephan Sterns' DNA by the way of skin cells. And that type of evidence is just so powerful. Mike?
Yeah, that would be the icing on the cake, the cherry on the sundae for this prosecution for him, because once you get that DNA, it is so powerful. The only thing I worry about is that poor Maddie was left out in the under the brush for about 5 days, I think it was, before her body was recovered. 6 days, and maybe the DNA, maybe some of the evidence had deteriorated because of the elements. I hope that doesn't happen, because if that happens, you still can do the prosecution and things like that. And there may be some other evidence of DNA in other places. But if you found it underneath the fingernails and they were able to use it, it was good. It wasn't degraded DNA. Then that would be fantastic. That would be the best thing for this case, because there's no way that you can explain why Maddie would be deceased. A, in your care. B, that you have the scratches and she has the your DNA under her fingernails. That would be fantastic. But just keep our fingers crossed. We'll find out.
Anna M. from the chat. Why couldn't Maddie have her own bedroom? Well, because it was like a flop house. Jennifer Soto rented 2 of those bedrooms. And when Stephan Stern was around, he paid for the 3rd rented room. So absolutely outrageous. Yeah. So yeah, it was the flop house. That's why, and that's why Madeline couldn't have her own room, to answer your question. Kissimmee, Florida, again from the chat, and thank you, Kissimmee. I know that you live on or around that complex. There was only one single exit door where he would have taken her body out, as the patio door was sealed closed, as it was in Madeline's living area. God, it's just crazy. Callie from the chat, when they both lie and say how happy she was with her party and presents, I want to slap them straight lie. LG from the chat, the boy that lived in the home part of the time, would they automatically include him in part of the investigation to make sure he is okay? Freaks like Stephan Sterns won't mind it, but yeah, they would do that. Everyone that lives in that home, I'm sure, has been interviewed. Every part of that home was subject to a search warrant. So yeah, they've done a very, very thorough investigation. I want to play a little bit of this. This was when they were first reporting Madeline missing, just to show some of the body language of both Stephan and Jennifer Soto.
Sometimes she'll walk here to this office. I came here, nothing. I went back to the school, they were closed. I got an email from the school saying she was absent, but I also messaged her teacher and he looked at her entire attendance today and saw that she was completely not at school today either.
Okay.
So she never made it.
Okay. What's her name?
Madeline. Madeline.
Madeline. Last name?
Soto. SOTO.
SOTO?
Yeah.
Deputies immediately began searching for Maddie, going through wooded areas and even trying to figure out if she ran away. As they did that, they interviewed Jen Soto and Stephan Sterns about what happened the morning of February 26th.
I heard everyone getting ready around, I'm going to say 7:30, 8 o'clock.
Just saying also, Sunday night was Madeline's birthday party. Jennifer didn't show up at the birthday party. Wouldn't you get up early in the morning to greet your daughter who just had a birthday party the night before, and now she's going to school? You're not going to see. Wouldn't you greet your daughter and say, I'm sorry I didn't make it to your party, or I wanted to see you off to school? But she didn't do any of that.
No, Bill, that's one of the things that makes it difficult to for people who are like investigating this, content creators, viewers. If you're a parent, you look at her and you're like, what the heck is going on in between her ears? Because she seems so addled by some sort of addiction or incapacity, maybe the numbness, the lack of emotion has to do with being on some sort of medication. But you would think no matter what, you'd get up and want to see your child and say, happy birthday, sweetie. I'm sorry I couldn't make it. You know, this is her 13th birthday. This is when a kid becomes a teenager. She's a girl. She doesn't even have her own room. A boy or a girl has to have their own room growing up at some point. All she had is a little divider in the common area where the tenants would share the living room. It was terrible, but it's hard to see the world through, from her point of view, because it seems so odd the way she's acting. And part of that, like you say, the day after her birthday, she missed the birthday. That's a huge one. Why wouldn't you get up a couple of minutes early, give her a hug and say, honey, when we come home tonight, we'll have a little cake for you, special, just because I missed your party and I'm sorry. And occasionally, of course, that always happens with parents. You're always going to miss something. But the fact that whenever, in all those interviews, whenever you hear her speaking to the police, she never asks, how's the investigation going? Anything I can do to help? Nothing. It's like Maddie is gone. Really strange.
Absolutely. Anna M. from the chat, why couldn't Maddie have her own bedroom? A 13-year-old girl shows she never gave her daughter any consideration. Anna M., thank you very much for the $4.99 super sticker. Much appreciated. Folks, this is Police Off the Cuff, real crime stories. If you like real crime, true crime, from a police perspective, then you're in the right place. And if you're not subscribed, right on the front of the channel, just hit that subscribe button. We made it that easy for you. And if you want to contribute to this show, because it does cost a lot of money to produce this show, join us on Patreon. We have 4 different levels. And if you want to become a YouTube channel membership, we have 5 different levels. And all those folks in our YouTube as well as our Patreon help contribute to keep this channel going and keep it healthy and moving along like we do. Melissa Zaday, he's really stupid. He seems like the type that forgot about something like a Fitbit or other type of fitness tracker. Anyone know if he owns one or if police found any data related to his steps? Melissa Zaday, apparently he was wearing a Fitbit. They haven't put out anything in regards to how they've been able to track it. But yes, he was wearing a Fitbit. Let me play this again.
And was it just Steph? Who else lives here?
I have roommates.
Okay.
I have Angelica Negro, who's one roommate, and then Natalie Rosiero.
Okay. And you just heard all of them, or did you hear anyone in specific?
You know, just the way she said that, Mike. I have roommates, like almost saying it in an apologetic way. When she said to the officer, I have roommates. I have roommates. Let me see if I can play it back again.
Okay.
Angelica Negro.
Oh, that's a little early.
Okay.
Who else lives here?
I have roommates.
Okay.
I have Angelica Negro, who's one roommate, and then Natalie Rosiero.
Okay. And you just heard all of them, or did you hear anyone in specific?
No, I just heard, if anything, Stephan came and woke me up accidentally because he was trying to let the dog out.
Mm-hmm.
And the dog gets really nervous sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So I was trying to help him with that.
I think that was proven that she made that up too. That wasn't true. That he walked in to let the dog out. So it's like, again, get back to that theme. Why is she lying? Why is she lying? What is she covering up? What part of her involvement is she covering up here?
It looks like she's trying to show to the officer that she was awake, that she knew, she was aware what was going on. She heard people getting ready. She assumed later on, she corrects it, when she's talking to I think Detective Tagler or Detective Hunt. But she's just trying to throw in a few things like, everybody was to make it look like she was up and she was about and doing her thing, not that she was passed out in bed from some sort of the effects of medication she was taking. She wanted to make it sound like she was a responsible parent. Yeah, he was there taking care of her. And I was there too. I heard everybody, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, she's trying to just impress a little bit. She's conscious. She's cunning enough to know how some of the things she's saying may have an effect on the police. And I think that's she's being very intentionally deceitful. Yeah.
Kasemi from the chat, question for Bill and Mike, as he had her body propped up in the passenger seat for hours that morning. Wouldn't there be a huge amount of DNA evidence on that seat and in the car? Yes, Kasemi, there would be evidence of her sitting there. And I read the crime scene report. They swabbed and they did a whole crime scene rundown on the vehicle. So they did everything they were supposed to do. So, Kasemi, you're asking some great questions. You're keeping us on our toes, keeping us in our criminal justice hats on. I'm going to go back to Chris and Debra Sterns and part of their interview.
And nothing else. Okay. I don't think he may have, I gave him access to a second Chase account that I set up for him, but it hasn't been used for whatever time. So if he has that, it doesn't have any money in the account. So other than that, that's the only thing I would know he had. I gave him, he would have use of the gas.
This is Stephan Sterns' dad, Christopher Sterns. And when he referred to his parents in his police interview, he said they were 2 old deaf people that raised poodles, and they're preparing for the end of their life. That's what he said in his interview.
Nice.
But meanwhile, the dad pays his damn rent, and they really didn't. They were thrilled when Stephan left the house to go back to Jennifer's because they were sick and tired of his whole act.
Card, but I made him fill it up and give me the card back, so he didn't have use of that.
Okay. What banks does he have? Chase and.
Well, he has a second account that I set up, but he has his own account with Disney Partners.
Credit union.
Okay.
Yeah. But we don't have any access to that, so I don't know what he's got in there, what he does.
Have you looked to see if there was any phone activity on your account that you paid for anytime during that Monday, Tuesday area?
I didn't look at his account. To answer your question, no. But then a Wednesday, since he didn't have his phone, I had a spare phone I used for business, which I think you guys have, iPhone mini. And I said, here, use this until you get your phone back. Again, thinking everything's innocent and what have you. And so I gave that to him around 3:00 Wednesday afternoon. I said, use this. And then we went downstairs and met with the detectives, and then they were escorted away. And then the last time I saw the phone, other than him calling me to tell me that the detective said when they pull into the Orange County Operations Center, they're going to go straight back. And I go, oh, okay. And I'm to go to the left and park out in front of the main building. We're going there for the press conference. And then I get there, and then I'm expecting to meet up with Jen and Stephan to go up to the press conference. And then when trying to reach them, Stephan's phone is dead at this point. It's turned off. Finally, Jen responds to me, and they said they're making arrangements. Go inside. You'll get a pass. They'll take you upstairs to the press conference. So by the time I got up there, it was over, and now I'm just trying to. Where is everybody? But the only call that came in, because I wiped out everything that I could think of to wipe out, because if he's going to have access to that phone, like I've got my contacts in there where I put all my passwords and username and passwords. I know that's stored in passwords, but I want quick access to it or something, whatever, relevant information. What are you going to do? No, just
stay.
Yeah,
Stay.
just tell me quiet. So, and then anything else that would have been confidential that I didn't want to have access to, I deleted off of there. Because again, I only expected them to use it for a short time, because the police said.
You can hear all these barking poodles. They sound a little bit heavier voices than poodles, but that's why Stephan couldn't live there. The poodles drove me crazy, but you're a 37-year-old man living for free in your parents' house, and all you do is complain, and all you do is apparently is stay in your room and sleep and don't work and never come out and just play stupid games that children are supposed to be playing, not a 37-year-old man.
In the lobby, hey, we're going to give your phone back, we're going to give your car back. Well, I knew what that was about. They're going to escort him without handcuffing and what have you. They wanted him to be comfortable and what have you. So I didn't expect to lose my iPhone as a result of that.
Which you should be able to get that iPhone back, but I'll double check and let you know.
Well, I was going to ask you that. Yeah. Because I asked Alec about it. He said, well, it's being transferred to Kissimmee. And I said, well, this is going to be a slow process. So anyway.
No, we should be able to get you the iPhone back.
Yeah.
His other phone, no.
No, I would expect that, no.
What about the car?
The card, no.
Yeah, we already know that. Yeah, I've already kissed that goodbye.
Okay.
So their car, that Lincoln, it wasn't Stephan's car, it was their car, which he transported the dead body in.
Right.
They're not getting that back.
No, not at all. Not
this is a capital murder case, and perhaps 2-3 years from now, then the car will be so old it won't even be worth getting back. But they understand that they're not even asking for that piece of evidence back. I just want to raise this up in the Friday tie day in the chat. Cadaver dogs didn't smell her in the house or in car. Doesn't a body have to be dead 3 hours or more to be identified by dogs? I think she was strangled in the car or somewhere else. It's so unplanned. Friday tie day, I don't know. Look, Madeline Soto lived in that house. So that would throw the dogs off right there. So I don't know if they can predict where, if all of her scent is in that house, that where she was killed. I don't know if the dogs can predict that. I don't know. I don't know. I used bloodhounds a few times on the NYPD. We use dogs that search for guns and weapons, but the bloodhounds are, they're a little bit different. Cadaver dogs are totally different too. So I don't know specifically. Look, the cadaver dog gave a hit on Jennifer Soto's car. Right. He responded to that car. So, and Mike came up with a good point. Maybe her body even just touched the car when he was carrying it out there. And that could be enough for a cadaver dog to hit on the car. Mike.
Yeah, Billy, that's the strange thing is that they made the hit, and these dogs are, they get it 99 out of 100 times, and the dog barked and signaled for Jen's newer car, not the big old Lincoln. So it looks like that either at some point there was some clothing of Maddie's in there that was maybe or something that could have been dirty clothing. It could have been that Maddie was maybe the two cars were placed next to each other in the middle of the night. They were parked near each other because I'm sure you may have assigned spaces in that sort of complex. So maybe they were parked next to each other. Maybe in trying to get open the door to the car, he put the bigger car, his parents' car. He put her. He laid her body for a second on top of the other car or on the trunk of the other car while he was, making the arrangements to get her into the bigger car. And maybe for 30 seconds, her body came into contact with it. Or there was some scent from her after she passed away, some signal that got on him, and he may have touched that. But that's those dogs were hitting on the smell out on at least on the door of Jennifer's car, not on the parents' car. So that is a little confusing, but that's a plausible explanation. Not sure, but hopefully we'll know more later on as we go further.
Mareda Yvette Pagan. This woman is so guilty. She knows something. Mareda, that's why we're doing this show. We agree with you. Melissa Zadeh from the chat. That Fitbit will give you all the information you need. That's why they haven't released any of that data. I'm pretty sure if he took it off, we'd know, like we know about the phone being left. Yeah, he was definitely wearing a Fitbit in one of the pictures. So the police definitely have that information. Whether they will release it in one of these document dumps, we don't know. Gracie from the chat. How could roommates not know? Putting numbers on the door in a small house makes it look like those rooms are for something else. Yeah, that room number 4, guest room number 4, they even numbered them. Yeah, crazy. Ashley Loomis, I think she and Stephan Sterns were cleaning all the laundry, sheets, blankets during the day, cleaning everything up because they knew that house was going to be searched. Jen helped him. Ashley Loomis, you know something? The more we find out about this case, the more things come out. And yeah, I don't doubt anything. I really don't. Anna M., thank you for the 999 super sticker. You'd also think she might plan her daughter's 13th birthday on her day off. She wanted nothing to do with her. Maddie must have wondered why her mom couldn't come to a milestone birthday. Anna, these are all questions that we all absolutely 100% have. And as I said with Mike before, why wouldn't she have woken up in the morning to say goodbye to her daughter who she couldn't make it to her birthday party the night before? Why wouldn't she wake up and say goodbye to her daughter who was going to school? Why, better yet, why didn't she get up and drive her there? Why is she having this moron, Stephan Sterns, who just came back into the house after not being there since December? and this is February 26th.
Mm-hmm.
So he hasn't been there for almost 2 months. All of a sudden, he just is reintroduced into her life. And oh, by the way, he's going to drive you to school. Something, as we say in New York, is fugazi with that.
Yeah, Billy, just think about it. He was gone from December till the end of December sometime to the end of February. And there he is. He shows up. He's there for one day. And then suddenly, as one of the other roommates described to the police, that he was there in that morning and he was actually not sitting in front of a laptop. He was actually running up and down the stairs in the house, washing things and cleaning. He's smart enough as you know, when he's motivated to do something, he can accomplish something. He was cleaning the crime scene as fast as he could and as thoroughly as he could, doing the laundry and, you know, that sort of thing, probably cleaning up the floor. I wouldn't put it past him to do some vacuuming, anything he could, change the sheets on the bed, absolutely anything he could do. Funny what you can accomplish when everybody thinks you're a moron, but you suddenly are motivated by fear of getting arrested. He knew what he'd done, and that's what happened. So it's really strange. That was a chaotic place for a poor little 13-year-old girl to grow up in. And the fact that she didn't even have her own room. And like you say, this guy came into her life, back into her life after 2 months. And, you know, the place is in turmoil again. And that's sad. That just goes to show you what kind of a person he was in, what kind of actor he was in that family's life.
Absolutely,
really
Mike. Well said. Television, musical love. I'm recalling that Jen said she saw Maddie on Sunday night and talked about the party. That was a lie. If you heard that earlier on, she did say that it was a lie. And then she sent Maddie to spend the night with Stephan Sterns. Could that have been a complete lie? All of this, till it's verified, we don't know the specifics. We're taking. Look, I do not doubt that the police have physical evidence that allows them to know exactly what happened. They haven't released that to everyone yet. But look, as we said, we're finding out now that many of the things that were said early in this investigation turned out to be a lie. And many of them were said by Jennifer Soto. Let me play a little bit of our star here.
So we're trying to get just a good idea, times, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm so sorry. I'm giving my best recollections. I'm not a morning person as it is. So a lot of the times are best guess.
but we know that you go up Jongyang Parkway down. That's the road you usually take to take her. And then you make a left at that McDonald's, right? Which is the town loop.
You can make a left to get there either at the McDonald's or at Town Center itself. They both lead to the school.
So if you leave her at, just so you get a sense of direction, Jongyang Parkway goes northbound and southbound. So you're going northbound into Orange County, making a left at the McDonald's, which is the town loop. You said when you did drop her off at that medium, you said it was around 8:20, 8:30-ish, somewhere around that time?
Somewhere in there, yeah. It was early, but not like outrageously early, you know?
So what would you estimate when you made a left at that McDonald's to be?
After I dropped her off?
No, I'm saying when you dropped her off.
First left by that McDonald's.
Yeah, when you first go, that first left that you make at the McDonald's.
It had to have been around maybe 8, maybe quarter after 8, sometime in there.
Okay.
Sometime between 8 and a quarter after, I think.
All right. So just so it's, you can kind of picture it here on the map. So you're going northbound. You make a left here around like 8:10, 8:15. Let's say 8:15, around there. When you get over here, you make a U-turn. You go back to the McDonald's. But you said that she still doesn't want the McDonald's.
Still doesn't want it. She was just going to eat the Danishes that I had given her.
So you're going up here now. still northbound on Jongyang Parkway.
Mhm.
You make a left at
Now, do you think that the police checked the car to see if there's any crumbs on the seat from those alleged Danishes that he fed or he gave to Madeline?
You want to take a look just to make sure, because you don't want to have him give answers that you're not sure whether or not they're truthful or not. If you could find a little bit of powdered sugar, a little wrapper, a few crumbs, that's good. If you don't have them, that's good. You want to know the answer to that question before he even gets it out of his mouth.
100%. Well, they thoroughly did a crime scene on the interior of the car. I saw some of that in that 80-page supplemental.
Town Center this time.
Town Center, then make,
Then
a,
make a
right
right.
onto, yes.
And
the
then you
school
drop
road.
her off
And
around
then
like
dropped her off around halfway up the road there.
So keep in mind, all of this is still northbound.
Okay.
Right? You're still northbound on Jongyang Parkway.
Northbound.
So why is your car seen going southbound at 8:10? I'll show you what location it is. McDonald's is over here.
Mm-hmm.
At 8:10, your car is seen going southbound at this intersection. So meaning going toward Kissimmee.
Mm-hmm. I had forgotten something. I had forgotten my gate clicker. I'm sorry. I forgot. I had gone back to the house real quick after we left because I forgot my gate clicker. I actually had to go through the front gate and use my parking pass to grab my clicker. So it was the wrong time. I'm sorry. Like I said, I was guesstimating these times. I'm not a morning person.
Okay.
So yes, we've gone out.
How far did you get before you came back down when you realized you forgot your clicker?
Nearly all the way to the school. And then we turned around. We had plenty of time to kill, so it was time to go back.
You know, someone actually on another channel spoke about the language he used as if we had time to kill was sort of like a Freudian slip that was almost implicating. I mean, I don't, people use that expression all the time. I was just killing time, you know, I don't, and they did, but, you know, in this case, he killed somebody. So they're putting this as like almost like an admission of guilt through a Freudian slip, but I don't totally buy that. You can look for, you know, for reasons. I think he's gave enough reasons without that additional Freudian slip.
I rushed back, got the clicker, and that's when I came back here this way.
Folks, just also realize when he drove back through that gate, he had a dead Madeline sitting in the front passenger seat, the right passenger seat, leaning over, and drove in and spoke to a security guard who didn't notice anything untoward. And I just want everyone to realize, I don't want anyone to eviscerate this security guard, but I find that a little bit bizarre that Stephan had the nerve to drive through the gate with a dead body laying in the front seat. Just unbelievable.
You guys came back here to get your clicker.
Correct.
So when we look at the cameras in the front, it's going to show you coming back in
Correct.
here with her in the car.
Yes, with her in the passenger seat.
Okay.
Yes.
I know it sounds like we're asking you stupid questions. Okay, we
No,
just want to
it's
verify
okay.
the
I'm
times.
sorry, I'm not being more help. I'm not a morning person. I was half asleep as it was.
The morning person thing drives me crazy.
Trying
The clickers to get where?
into our neighborhood.
Okay, and you forgot the clicker where?
I had forgotten the clicker here.
So how did you get in?
I was able to use my parking sticker for them to scan to let me through.
Okay, so could you not have done that after you dropped her off?
I could have, but I also like to come back in from the back gate a lot of the times, and I didn't know if I would be back right away. And sometimes they're busy up front, so it's better not to wait in the line.
What time is security usually there at the front gate?
They were there when I came through. He scanned my ticket.
So would it have not just made more sense to drop her off and come back since security's already there?
I don't know if it made more sense. It's just what I did.
There you go.
Oh, thank you.
Anything else that we haven't asked that you feel is important? Maybe that might help us out.
I'm sorry. I'm having trouble recollecting everything.
I'm gonna step away for a second.
Deanna Joe from the chat. I don't know how those interrogators don't say quit your whining. Well, the reason they don't do that is because they want his cooperation. You know, you can get mad and you can be antagonistic by the person that you're interviewing, but if you want them to cooperate, you try to play ball with them. You try to get them to cooperate with you. And if you antagonize them, you want them to like you too, believe it or not. It's good for the interviewee to like the people who are interviewing him, believe it or not. It's not always easy to do. But I've had people confess to murders that said, I really like that detective, you know, and really he's the one that's putting you away for 25 to life because you just confessed to him, you know. So there is a strange dynamic there.
Anything that you remember maybe she might have told you?
She didn't mention anything in particular. I made a joke about her Crocs. She wears Crocs and socks. So we were joking about that.
Would she say she's usually like a happy, go lucky girl?
Very happy. She brings a lot of joy. She's a very good girl.
You know, Anna M. from the chat, did the investigators ask Stephan Sterns if he normally goes to stores 3 hours before they open? Yes, they did get into that with him. It was actually an hour and 40 minutes before it opened, or an hour and 20 minutes before it opened. Yeah, they did get into that with him, Anna M., but good point. Jamie, any thoughts on the computer stuff in the storage unit connected to the internet? How likely is that Sterns was trading, selling? Look, Jamie, there's a very good likelihood that Stephan Sterns was doing something nefarious with the images that he had. He seemed to have money, yet he was still having his father pay for his rent. But he seemed to have money coming from an unknown source. So I'm sure he was doing some criminal activity with those images. We don't know that for a fact. And all of these things that you guys are asking, great questions, fantastic questions. All these questions you're asking, the police know the answers to. We don't know the answers to it right now, but believe me, the police do know the answers to these questions.
Bill, if I can just interject real quick.
Go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
At this interview, thanks. At this interview, I think it was within 24 hours of Madeline being reported missing to that original police officer when they're standing, when Stephan and Jen were standing there talking to him, and he's telling this is 24 hours after his this beloved Madeline, who's brought a lot of joy into everyone's life. He can't remember anything. I'm not a morning person. I can't remember. It was the other day. I'm sorry, I'm foggy on that. It's this is my best guesstimate. Not sure. That's a sign to me. That's a sign of being deceptive too, because it's within 24 hours. They're not asking you 6 months after the girl went missing. What did you talk to her the night before you last saw her? They're talking within 24 hours. He can't even give a straight answer. It's incredible how poor his ability to communicate anything in with any sort of clarity whatsoever. And they're probably looking at him, and you want to strangle this guy because he's probably the one who's responsible. But like you said, you got to sweet talk him a little bit. You got to keep him on your side. You can't antagonize him no matter what you think of him. You have to keep him talking.
100%. And that's the art and the of interview and interrogation. And it's easy to to get mad. But, like we watch those old detectives movies and you see detectives screaming at someone or getting in someone's face. In my experience, that doesn't work, because the guy who you're dealing with usually is a murderer. He's not afraid of you. He's not afraid of the police, So what's the best way to get a statement? It's to use, what do they say? That it's easier to get more flies with honey than it is vinegar, right?
Vinegar. That's right.
And that's true. That is absolutely true. And that I love to use that Yiddish word, you schmooze. You
That's right.
schmooze the people that you are talking to. You get them to like you, right? You make them comfortable. You take them to the bathroom. You get them something to eat. All of those things can go a long way with getting someone to cooperate, believe it or not. Because is the person you're interviewing in crisis? Yeah, usually. They know what they did. They know what they did. And it's your job to try to get them to tell you what they did. Not so easy.
He's not here. She was so happy too. She was looking forward to my visit here. She was looking forward to us all being together. She was just happy. She was just very happy.
He must be saying something about
Yeah.
When's the last time you all lived together?
December.
December. Okay.
December.
And you said the reason was for your parents down there?
Yeah, going down to help them because they're getting on in age and they're making their end of life plans.
I love that
They
one.
need someone to help out.
Can you unlock this one?
They're getting up in age and they're getting together their end of life plans.
That's
I don't think that his parents, who you see in this photo here, I don't think they're making their end of life plans. And when you listen to his father and his mother, his father Chris, his mother Debra, be interviewed, they're saying he was absolutely no help at all. All he did when he stayed there was stay in his room and sleep and did nothing. Was just a parasite, basically. And here he is talking about, oh, they're making their end of life plans, and I just come around and I try to help. Dude, who are you bullshitting? You're helping no one. But when he says that they're just making their end of life plans, no, just incredible. And again, I don't think his parents would agree with that statement that they're making their end of life plans.
No.
I had to go away from that for a second.
Sure.
I have a question.
Yes.
Sorry, are you guys done?
No, we're good.
The other detective mentioned that you did not have your phone yesterday.
Correct.
Tell me about that.
I left my phone at home in the morning too. I was so busy riding her to the door on time that I left my phone. She left her phone.
One thing I just wanted to say, it sounds like this plan to drive her to 20 minutes to school was almost like going on an 8-hour trip up, like it was way more planning than a 20-minute ride deserved. You know what I mean? I don't think I would be planning that much to drive my kids to school in a 20-minute drive, and the McDonald's discussions. I don't know if I would be bringing them Danishes. They would eat before they left. Bringing them so much earlier to school than they needed to be. All of these plans of mice and men all went wrong.
Billy, yeah, I think Eisenhower planned D-Day with less effort than he's planning on getting Madeline from the front door of their home to 10 miles away to school. It's just incredible how it seems such a daunting and taxing task to do this. It's incredible. And like when you talk about his parents, Mr. Stearns has a business. Mrs. Stearns, I think she runs the poodle end of the business. So I think they have two businesses going at the same time. Those people are very dynamic and they are worker bees. And this guy, if he's the last person you would ever ask to help you get a job done. He can't even get himself drive, a 13-year-old to school. As you say, it's incredible, really incredible.
Someone asked a good question of you, Mike. Professor Geary, why would Stephan Sterns go to trial? I would think there was so much against him that he would just admit guilt.
Good question. On the first trial with all the pictures, the only thing that he may be able to say is that the photos, even though, the photos, he did not download the images. Maybe the images were sent to him. He didn't want them. Maybe he could argue something that so he owns only some of them, but not all of them, mitigating the evilness. Perhaps he could say with his medication, he's zonked out. He doesn't know. He doesn't appreciate his actions, the consequences of his actions, even though he's violating all kinds of state and federal laws with the downloading of those images. I was thinking about this today on the ride home from work, and I was before the show, and I'm thinking, what would his defense? This is a great question because I was thinking the exact same thing. What would his defense be? And I'm thinking, to try to disown as much as he could, because he knows he can't disown everything, but also say he's been addled by narcotics and he's got this addiction because of the medication is messing with his brain chemistry, and he's not like this normally. He'd never be like this, but the medicine is like a temporary medicated induced mental health crisis. That's the only way I can think of it. That I'm not sure where else his attorney could go. I'm not really sure. That's a great question, and I'm not sure he's got a lot of space to maneuver. So that's the best thing I can come up with right now, is that some sort of self-induced mental health crisis caused by his medication that makes him do things and see things and take actions that he normally would never, ever, ever do.
100%. My buddy Maui Swift, apparently Maddie told the school counselor she thought Stephan was weird. It made her uncomfortable. Maui, I question this also. How all these years that he was in her life and school teachers and counselors never saw a problem. And if they did, they didn't report it. I don't know enough about that end of the investigation to point fingers at anyone, but it would make sense. This was going on since she was 9 years old, that she wouldn't have told somebody. And I think she absolutely told her mother. Absolutely 100%. That's why when they showed her mother, she wasn't even shocked. And she made some real stupid comment. Something about that's not evil. I don't want to say the word. Right. That's not evil. Okay. I think that's about as evil as you can possibly get. This case is dumbfounding in so many different ways. But I always like to say what an outstanding job the police work is in this case. Detective Hunt, Detective Taggler, is it?
Yeah, she's great.
She's fantastic. Some of the Kissimmee detectives, we don't know their names, but just fantastic police work. And some really great technological things. I didn't even know about this specifically. They're license plate readers. Not only can they insert the plate number, but they can have a database, bring that plate number and give a readout of everywhere that plate has been in that vicinity that day or that week. That's incredible investigative tool, an incredible, that's technology. That's the science of marrying a camera with a computer database. It's almost like in New York, they have these things called the Remington plate reader. And it was really designed for protection of the city. And if someone is on a terrorist watch list and their plate of their car comes into the city, it'll be tracked each and every time it comes in, goes out of the city, and tremendous thing. I would imagine these license plate readers in Kissimmee are very much like this, very sophisticated and invaluable as an investigative tool. Just absolutely great. Callie, you can tell the female detective was done with his BS. Callie, you know something? You're 100% right, but also realize that these detectives probably had no sleep for 24, 30, 32 hours straight. And they were at their wits' end. But yet, you can't show that to the perp. You got to show that you're still being kind. You're still being considerate, yet short. They were a little bit short with him a couple of times, but that can only be expected. And they were tired of hearing his lies also. But nonetheless, they were fantastic, both of them.
We both left our phones.
Did you have your phone when you went to the smoke shop?
Not the first time after I dropped her off. I was still without it. I got my phone and went back to the smoke shop.
Okay.
Later when I got home.
And then I also noticed, I was checking your call history. I noticed that you don't have anything before this morning. Is that unusual on your phone?
No, it's a new phone. Stupid. I went to do an update yesterday morning, and I don't know what the fuck. Pardon me. I don't know what the heck I did, but somehow during the massive OS update, I managed to factory reset my phone and lose all of my contacts, all my information.
Mm-hmm. What time was that? Do you remember?
Oh, sometime while I was hanging out with Jen. Jen might know. I looked at her and said, "What did I just do?"
Okay.
She might know better. I don't know what time it was. It was when I was here with Jen.
Okay. I don't think I have any other questions. Do you, Louis?
I don't know where my head was yesterday. It was so far up my backside.
That's okay. We understand. In the
We're used
meantime,
to
while we're
people
waiting
like you.
for all this to get sorted out, I am going to hold on to your phone, okay? I'll give it back to you when we're done.
Okay.
Okay? Do you have any questions for us?
How long are you gonna need my phone?
I'm not sure. I'm waiting for my supervisor to call me.
My dad. It's just my dad's using that to get a hold of me and get updates.
They can call Jen's phone.
Okay.
Did the other detective give you his business card?
I believe so.
Okay, well, here's mine in case you want it for any reason.
Okay.
Okay? Mm-hmm. Do you swear that everything you told us is true?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Thanks for your time. We appreciate it. I know it's a little hectic right now. And then I know you were about to head somewhere. If you can just hang tight and refrain from going back in your car, please.
Oh, yeah, it's fine. I was actually going to move it over a spot.
No, just leave it here. It's fine. Thank you.
Central Florida, I'm sure you're aware.
Case number 24-11313. Today's date is February 28th, 2024. The time is 00:16 hours. Speaking with Stephan again. Okay. So, as you guys know, they have, right? Mm-hmm. They've been going through the phone, and they noticed that there was like a lot of messages between you and. Can you explain to me what your relationship is between?
Yeah.
This is when he's talking about his relationship with Madeline.
Mostly things like, when are you going to call us? When are you going to come up here and visit? Hey, poopy head, get online. Things like that.
Okay. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. Your phone. I told you that I was going to hold on to it and that we would like to download your phone, right?
Okay.
Is this something that I have your consent to do, or do I need to get a search warrant for your phone?
It should be fine.
You're okay with us going through your phone?
Yeah.
Okay. Can I have the PIN to your phone?
I just wanted to point that out to everyone listening. He does a lot of those pauses that are also designed to think of the lie he's going to tell. When you notice he goes, that is a sign of deception, a serious sign of deception. Another one is to repeat the question you're asked. Oh, what time was it? Oh, what time was it? That gives the person being asked the question time to stall and time to think of the answer they're gonna give. But he does a lot of those pregnant pauses, and that again is so huge to anyone that does interviews as a sign of deception. Just wanted to point that out.
2586.
Four 2586. Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much. And then, okay, so when you guys FaceTime, what do you guys talk about?
There too. We're just chatting.
Okay. I noticed that at some of the times that you guys are FaceTiming, it's like really late. Is it normal for her to be in bed late?
Yeah.
Okay.
And her bedtime's usually around 10:30, 11 o'clock. I talk to them both before bedtime.
All you parents out there, how many would A, allow their daughters to stay up to 10:30, 11 o'clock on a school night, and B, to talk to this dirtbag on her phone, FaceTiming with him till 10:30, 11 o'clock at any time, that is so not okay. And I'm sure the detectives, of course, feel the same way I do about that.
When I'm not here.
Okay.
10:30 is supposed to be her bedtime, but she gets to push it sometimes.
Okay. When you guys are FaceTiming. Okay.
Sometimes phone to FaceTime with her, sometimes FaceTiming them both together on one of the phones.
Okay. And then yet you said that yesterday you accidentally factory reset your phone, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember what time that was?
No, it was sometime in the morning. I've been pushing off doing an update for a while.
Was that before or after you went to the smoke shop?
There it goes again with the
before? I'm not sure. I'm not a morning person. It's a newer phone. I was doing this update. It had some sort of weird option at the bottom that said something about reinstall everything, and I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing.
Okay, can you
Jen was
explain
right
to
there with
me? Where were you? Like, were you in your settings?
I was following whatever the links were for the OS update.
Where I don't have an Android, so I don't know where.
I'm not super tech
Is
savvy,
it like
I'm
a
so sorry.
text? Was it?
It was a push notification that came in at the top that I had just been ignoring.
Oh,
for
like
a
up
long
here.
time. Yeah.
Okay.
And then it was a. It's a boneheaded maneuver.
Okay, and then where did it direct you to?
I don't know. It took me to a page with all the stuff in the system, and I clicked something. I wasn't paying attention.
Do you remember what it said? Like, what kind of update was it?
It was like a big OS update, and it had all these options, and it was like reinstall something with all the apps and stuff. Reinstall everything, the apps and stuff. I don't know exactly what I said. I pushed it, and it started doing the update, and then it turned into some sort of reset or something. I'm not sure how I did that.
Okay.
I was half asleep,
and then when you came back to get your key fob, what did you do when you got here?
Ran inside, got the key fob, ran back out again.
Okay, where did you park?
Right.
Oh, another
right up here, I
wrong.
think.
Okay. How long would you say you were inside your apartment for?
Literally long enough to run in, grab the fob, and come back out. So.
Okay, and then what did you
minutes at the
do?
Most.
What did you do when you came back up?
Got back in the car and went back on the morning mission.
Okay. The camera has you in the complex for 12 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Does that seem about right?
Yeah, coming into the complex, driving around, parking, getting the fob, coming back out. Sounds about right.
Okay. And then you leave. What time would you say you dropped her off at the school? Or not at the school, but in the area?
My estimate was sometime between 8:20 and 8:40.
Okay, the camera has you leaving the complex at 8:31.
8:31. Okay, so it must have been closer to 8:40 then.
Okay, and then after you dropped her off, did you go directly to the smoke shop?
I did. I went directly to the smoke shop. Waited. It was supposed to be open, but it wasn't. I waited a little while to see if they were just being slow about turning on the open sign. They weren't, so I went home at that point.
How long do you think you waited?
5-10 minutes maybe.
Okay, so if you drop her off at like 8:40, how far is the smoke shop from there to where you dropped her off?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure how many minutes. How far?
Did you go anywhere else after the smoke shop?
Sorry. Oh no. I don't think I went anywhere specific. I was just driving probably in the direction home. But I don't remember stopping anywhere specifically.
And you were there for 5 to 10 minutes?
Roundabout, I think.
Okay, so like let's say you drop her off at 8:40. We don't see your car coming back south until 10 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you doing between 8:40 and 10 o'clock?
Cruising around a little bit.
Okay, but I asked you earlier, like what you were doing, and you said you were there for like 5 or 10 minutes, and then you came back home.
Yeah, well, I went to the smoke shop, like I said.
This detective is great, and because she knows, and one of the important things about being a good interviewer, she knows the truth. She knows the answers to the questions she's asking. And when he starts to lie, she confronts him with his lies. And you could see he's starting to get a little impatient almost. And, he does those long, and then, he comes up with, I'm not a morning person. I was just sort of driving around. No, you weren't driving around because you told me you sat there in front of the store. And so she called him on a few things, which is great. And I think she's a great interviewer. She's very subtle, but she knows the art and science of interview and interrogation. She does a great job.
But I may have been meandering around the area, but I made my way home.
Okay, but I'm asking you earlier, right? And even like the first time we talked to you, you're not telling us that you're like, just cruising the area, like you're coming home. So I need to be able to explain to my supervisors why there's such a time gap.
I mean, I don't know what to say. It was just a normal day. I didn't have anything important to do. The smoke shop was supposed to open soon, so I made my way over there. Wasn't any particular rush, though.
Okay, but can you help me explain to them? Because I don't know the explanation or the answer to this question, okay? So can you help me explain to them why there's such a delay in the time?
No, can't explain it. I wasn't going anywhere in particular. I wasn't doing anything in particular. Just making my way to the smoke shop. Waited for them to open. They did not open. And then I left.
Where did you go from there?
From the smoke shop, I went home.
Okay, the smoke shop is like 10 minutes from here, right?
15, 20-ish, 15, 20-ish, something like that.
Earlier, you told us it was 10 minutes.
Time is not a strong suit of mine. I'm guesstimating here.
I understand, but I have to be able to explain,
Either is having a
where you
brain.
were for an hour and 20
Right.
minutes.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
And right now, I can't explain that.
Okay. Smoke shop was supposed to open close to 10. I waited. They did not open. And I came home.
Okay.
What time specifically was it supposed to open?
10 o'clock is when it's supposed to open.
So why'd you go at 8:40?
Like I said, I didn't go exactly at 8:40. I went to the smoke shop after I dropped her off.
But even if it was 9 o'clock, that still would have been an hour before they're supposed to open.
Mhm.
So why would you think it would be open?
I didn't think it would be open. I was hoping I would get there early enough and wait for it to open.
So you would have waited an hour for it to be open?
I did not wait an hour. I got there.
This is when he's getting a little
maybe
testy.
20,
Oh, yes.
20 minutes.
Oh, yes.
I love when he gets a little testy with them. I did not wait an hour, so let's hear that again. I just love that.
Not doing anything in particular. Just making my way to the smoke shop. Waited for them to open. They did not open. And then I left.
Where did you go from there?
From the smoke shop, I went home.
Okay, the smoke shop is like 10 minutes from here, right?
15, 20-ish, 15, 20-ish, something like that.
Earlier, you told us it was 10 minutes.
Time is not a strong suit of mine. I'm guesstimating here.
I understand, but I have to be able to explain, where you were for an hour and 20 minutes.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
And right now, I can't explain that.
Okay. Smoke shop was supposed to open close to 10. I waited. They did not open. And I came home.
Okay.
What time specifically was it supposed to open?
10 o'clock is when it's supposed to open.
So why'd you go at 8:40?
Like I said, I didn't go exactly at 8:40. I went to the smoke shop after I dropped her off.
But even if it was 9 o'clock, that still would have been an hour before they're supposed to open.
Mhm.
So why would you think it would be open?
I didn't think it would be open. I was hoping I would get there early enough and wait for it to open.
So you would have waited an hour for it to be open?
I did not wait an hour. I got there maybe 20 minutes before it opened, 15 minutes before it opened, and just sat and waited.
But then you're seen coming at 10 a.m. when it's supposed to open, already coming down.
Leaving because it was supposed to open at 10 a.m. I waited a few minutes after 10. They were not opening, and that's when I left.
You did not wait a few minutes after 10.
What do you mean?
At 10 a.m., you were seen coming down.
That's when he did something that they hadn't done in a while. He directly confronted him, almost scolding parent. You did not leave at 10 a.m. He was like shocked by that. And he was like, what do you mean? Like it was the first time like a scolding parent, the detective went at him and said, you did not leave at 10 a.m. You were seen going southbound. And they'll, what do you mean? Let's go back to it.
Down southbound on Jongyang Parkway at the intersection of Jongyang
At 10
Parkway.
a.m., I was still in front of that shop waiting to see if they were going to turn on the open sign.
Okay, but if you dropped at 8:40 and you said you only waited for a couple minutes at the smoke shop, why would you still be there at 10?
I waited to see if it would open, and they did not open.
We got that part. But you said you were there for a couple of minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And then you said you were there after a couple minutes after 10. So that's...
It doesn't make
sense.
Make
sense.
I apologize for that. I'm trying to help you out the best that I can, but
Right. So, like, if you drop her off around 8:40, let's say, give or take 10 minutes, you make it to the shop around 9, the smoke shop, and you sit there and wait for a couple minutes for it to open. You said you waited for maybe 5 or 10 minutes, right? Mm-hmm. Does it make sense that you're still there at 10 o'clock?
I was there at 10 o'clock.
Okay, so what did you do before that?
I dropped her off, and I made my way over. Not a direct route, but I made my way over there.
Did you stop anywhere on your way to the smoke shop?
I don't think so.
Do you have problems with your memory that you can't recall what you did?
I'm extremely ADHD. I'm sorry. So just details start to get fuzzy after a while. Even the times I'm giving you are my best guesstimates here. I didn't have my phone with me at the time, so I wasn't aware of exactly what time.
There's no time on your car?
Transpiring. There probably is, but it's not my car. It's my parents' car.
How certain are you that you were outside of the smoke shop at 10 a.m.?
90% sure.
What makes you think that you were there at 10?
I saw lights on inside the place. It looked like they were coming to life in there.
Mm-hmm.
So it looked like they were about to open.
Mm-hmm.
And I was waiting to see if they were going to turn on the open.
Do you remember if there was anybody inside?
I couldn't see inside from the outside. But after I came home and then went back to the smoke shop again later, when they definitely were open, I stopped in and got my vape juice finally. I don't remember the name of the guy working there, but he was like a skinny guy, short, skinny guy.
When you came back for the fob, did she go inside with you?
No, she was in the car still. She was asleep.
Where in the car?
Passenger side.
The front seat?
Correct.
Okay. Did she at any point go in the back of the vehicle, like in the back seat?
No.
So she was in the front the whole time?
Mm-hmm.
Awake or asleep?
She was asleep.
Okay.
She was conked out. We had gotten up.
How was she positioned in the front seat?
Leaned back in the seat, just kind of conked out, napping.
Where was her head in relation to the seat?
Against the seat, I think. Against it. Just.
Was the seat leaning back, or
the seat was leaning back? Yeah, she had leaned the seat back so that she could recline and.
Okay. And then I need you to try to, refresh your memory. When you got the flat tire on 192, what could you see around you?
It's 192. It all looks the same.
Someone in the chat, Jamie, someone in the chat just brought it up. Pauline Buckles. At no point does he ask if he needs an attorney. That's a great question or point, because I wanted to know if he's smart enough. At what point did he realize he was a suspect? That's my big question. Was he dopey enough to think that, I can outsmart these guys? This is easy. And did it occur to him that he was suspect numero uno in this case? Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, I think he's dumb enough to think that he's slick enough to be getting over on them, that they don't know what the answers are to their questions, and that he's going to be giving them information, and they're going to, maybe they know some things, they've tripped him up a tiny bit, but he's smart enough to come across as sincere. He keeps saying like 10 times, I'm not a morning person. I didn't have my phone with me. But yeah, I agree. He did not think he was suspect number one. I think he was getting testy with them. They're getting testy with him. He's reacting to the tone of their questions, correcting them to make sure that he's got every single one of his T's crossed and his I's dotted. But I don't think he knew. I don't think he knew that as the last person, admittedly, to see Madeline alive, that he would be really a suspect. I think he was dumb enough to think that he was smart enough to stay off the radar in that way.
Yeah. Mike, a couple of things that are, to me, as a homicide investigator, that are so powerful, is that video shows him driving around with a dead body in his car. Mm-hmm. And, of course, some defense attorney could say, well, how do you know, officer, that she was dead at this point? How do you know that? Are you a mind reader? Did you take her? So obviously that can be questions. But part two to that is he goes into the Holiday Inn parking lot within this time frame, drives up on one of the floors, pulls into a parking spot, gets out of the car, goes to the trunk, opens the trunk, then goes to the passenger side, opens the door, picks up Maddie, and throws her into the trunk. There is no, I don't care if you got the dream team.
Right.
There is no attorneys on this earth that are going to be able to refute those. And it's on video. It's video. So along with him driving around with a dead body, then going up into this Holiday Inn and moving the body from the front seat into the trunk, that to me, and they have tons more evidence.
Sure.
But
when he did that, yeah, that's a big deal.
When the detectives are questioning him, what point did they know this? Because I don't know if they had that video yet.
I don't think they did. I don't think they had that video. I think they had the license plate reader, but I don't think they had time to go to all of the security videos. They knew it later on, and they timestamped it like 9:35 or 9:40. But you're right. There's, what we know now is more than they knew at that time, because they may not have gotten all that security video until after that his meeting with them in that interrogation, that questioning, because they were probably so freaked out by what he was saying and realizing this is probably the dude, this is the guy. Let's go over, if he was driving towards Maddie's school, what security cameras would he pass? And so you're right. They may not have known it probably for another couple of hours at that time.
Well, the time you want it is when you're going to do the interviews. That's a slam dunk. JW from the chat. Thank you, Sergeant Cannon and Professor Geary. Great analysis in an intelligent and down-to-earth approach. Thank you so much. And folks, again, if you're not subscribed, right on the screen, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you give us the thumbs up and hit that like button too, because that's how YouTube shares us all over the world, so we can be known in your household too. So, but thank you so much. Yeah, that's why we all become super sleuths when we watch all this stuff and say, why didn't they do this? Why didn't they do? Because they didn't have all the information that we now have.
That's right.
In real time. So that's where great investigation comes in. And of course, as the case moves forward and they start getting these videos in, they started getting these license plate reader timestamps in. That is invaluable. And you just always hope and pray that you have that information to use during the interview, because it's a slam dunk. It's a slam dunk when you can confront people with truths, that the truths that as they lie to you. I mean, when they very strongly said to him, no, you were not there at 10 o'clock. You saw how he just, whoa, I just got slapped by my kindergarten teacher. He didn't know what to do. He was confronted with the truth that he's so used to lying and getting away with lying that he was never confronted by two very good interviewers that called him on his lies. Mike.
Yeah, Bill, that's the beauty of it. At that time, they had some information. They didn't have it all, but they had enough to know that he was lying, because he was challenged earlier in the interview. He's challenged about being seen going south on John Young Parkway when at the time that he said he was going north with Maddie towards the McDonald's. And they have at that time that he's seen going, and that at that point where he's challenged a little bit on that. And then it gets a little testier and a little bit more testy, but you could see right there. The police were like, okay, let's throw that out there. Let's take him up on and challenge him a little bit. Don't let him just rant and rave the whole time. Let's just give him a little something and to see what he says. Because the truth that they later found out was, for that hour and a half that he was driving around from say 7:40 in the morning, 7:50 in the morning till 10 o'clock, he was driving up and down, had Maddie in the car, and then he went to the Holiday Inn and he's driving around without her. He probably went to the vape shop. She was in the trunk of the car, things like that, so, they did a great job, and it was really good to get the information that they had then. We have it more now, so they can corroborate what the license plate readers say, with the times that they know he was in different locations, with the security guard video, so they could put together, and that's how they kind of figured out towards the end. And Hickory Tree Road was because he was going in that direction, and his license plate was picked up on a license plate reader. They didn't know exactly where on Hickory Road he stopped, because remember, the female detective said to him, "Where on Hickory Road were you? What did you see when you got out of your car to change the tire? What did you see?" And she's looking for him to say a milestone. Oh, there's a big white gate with the letter M on it. I was like 10 feet from an intersection. There was, something like that. He couldn't do it. But yeah, at that point, they were, when you think about it, they were actually hot on his trail, figuring out exactly where poor Maddie was. They needed that one break, that one extra break that they got from the witness who called in and told them, "Wait a minute, I saw that guy, changing his car tire, and I can tell you exactly where he was on that road, on that deserted road." But they did a fabulous job, and it was between the license plate readers and security video and police instinct, they knew they had the guy.
Well, very well said, Mike. Kissimmee, Florida. At this point, the detectives had the Venetian Bay camera footage showing Madeline dead in the passenger seat. Well, thank you, Kissimmee, Florida. But we don't know, like, during this interview, yes, this interview was on the 28th, I believe. And he had given them his phone. Mm-hmm. And they were still in the process of someone from the NYPD has a technical assistance response unit, and that does all of the electronic work for the police department. They gave that phone to someone in their unit because they had permission to go into it. You heard him. He even gave them his code to get into the phone. So once they went into the phone and they found evidence, felonious evidence, I'll just say it that way. We all know what it was. They then got a search warrant because, there's more evidence, and we don't want any of it to be thrown out. Say some defense attorney says, "Oh yeah, he gave you permission, but he didn't mean to check to go back to day." They can always make up some excuse. So they did get a search warrant, and they found extremely nefarious, materials on the phone. I'll just put it that way. And so just that's when the case really, they could take their time. There was no rush. And look, as you remember, they didn't find Maddie's body till March 1st. It was dumped, we believe, on the 26th, and they didn't find it to the 1st. So, to me, this is fascinating. This is actually, I know it's tragic, it's horrific. No one visits people like this in their life, usually, No one sees people. We used to see them all the time on the police department, but during the normal course of your activities, I don't think that you're meeting people like this. Nor do you wish to meet people like this. Mike, we stayed on a lot longer than I thought we were going to because I found it so fascinating. I want to thank all you folks that were in the chat that stayed with us, that are new folks, that please hit the subscribe button, join this channel. You're really supporting us. And again, this is a fascinating case, and we bring so many different angles to it. And the only way, like detectives do, is to sit around and talk about it and come out with what happened here. And I hope we did a pretty good job in doing that and bringing this case to you tonight. It makes it easier when I have a smart guy like Mike Geary opposite me. I appreciate everything he's doing. Mike, I guess I want to ask you final words because we've been on for almost an hour and 50 minutes. My God.
Yeah. Last words that people should just keep the faith that, I always say this, that Jen will get whatever justice is due to her. and that there's plenty of time for that to happen. And just keep Maddie in your prayers. She's in a place now where no one can hurt her. And that's remarkable because the first time she's in a place where there is no one that can hurt her.
That's true. Folks, again, I'm Bill Cannon from Police Off the Cuff Real Crime Stories. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. And we'll bring you, as new things come up in this case, we'll bring it to you. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great night or morning, whatever, depending on your zip code.
Right.
And we'll see you soon. Have a great night and God bless.
One episode just ain't enough.